Welcome back to some more Create Integrated. Now, last episode, I built the Ingot factory, and it's not the most efficient factory, but it does slowly produce materials, which means we don't have to go mining for said materials. And less time spent mining means more time making other cool things. Or at least I think that, because I don't like mining that much. I mean, I do enjoy mining. It's just that the mining sometimes feels not so time efficient. And as a father of 3 beautiful children, I like to spend extra time with them over mining, and also other things, of course. Now, we're still going to need to go mining for several other things, for example, diamonds. And, well, we are going to need a significant amount of diamonds. Thankfully, there is also another way to potentially automate diamonds in the pack, which we'll end up getting into later. But I've got a building I have to build. That's right, we need to get the structure put around this bad boy. And I already have an idea of potentially having a second level above this, where we can put some odd and end factory things. For example, like maybe a mass press system that has multiple presses, so making iron sheets is a little bit easier, and many other things. Now, first things first, I need to determine how high I want this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, and then there's 7, 8. All right, so we're 9 blocks tall. Let's actually double this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is how tall ultimately I want this building to be. And I'm going to run around here and drop in all of the base bricks for right now. Now, I know it looks a little bit wild just being a solid building like this, but I am going to be able to add some decorations to this. We're going to get this opened up in the front. There'll be an entryway here, and then the roof, I have a special feature planned for it. Now, this little building over here, I don't want this to be too tall. Instead, I'm going to switch up the materials here that is going to be used, and I'm gonna kind of frame this out here. So we'll use a little bit of this weathered iron, and we're only going to go up so many blocks. I think this is probably high enough. Don't have to do any specific counting or anything like that. Just going to mix and match a little bit of this industrial iron, switching it between weathered and the regular iron and trying to keep it about that height. Now, the interior of this building, I'm going to use some andesite bricks, and I'll vary those andesite bricks later on, same as I'm going to do with this building here. Now, I do want to start getting the roof placed on here, and just like I've done on all of the other builds, cobblestone deep slate for the roof, and then we'll come in with some extra detail after I get this all placed in. Now, after getting the roof on this bad boy, let's go ahead and figure out kind of where we want windows. So I'm going to put the windows in. We'll come back later and we can swap these windows out for something different, but getting the rough outline I feel like would be really nice, especially for the windows that are going to go right up here. And so I'm going to put a very large window on this side. Not going to put a window over here, I don't think, but this one definitely going to go here. A couple of different size windows over here. As far as windows go on the roof, I do want some skylights, and these windows just work so good for skylights. With the skylights in, the area looks just so much more alive, in my opinion. But there is a few things that I want to get done in here. I need to get that second layer placed in. And something like 2 blocks up or so should be a pretty decent spot. We can even like separate these windows here to make sure this whole platform fits. You know what? I can actually just break this section right here, and then I could go ahead and shorten this up, and we'll just add some support beams under here. A few copycat panels with some iron bars or some andesite bars that are inside of them. And then a little bit of help from some andesite catwalks, and also the catwalk railing, which you can just place on the sides. And then a little bit of supports. So we can throw down some supports like this, and that holds this whole section up. We can even add both sides like that if we want. I think that looks really, really nice. I am going to need some supports under here. Probably one like all the way on the far end of the wall. Just going to start here. We just scale that all the way up, and it connects right into the catwalk. Oh, I really love these catwalks. Now, most of the interior basically ready to go. So now I think it's time to go ahead and start customizing the outer wall, giving it some texture work and adding some very interesting details. And also some of the things that we're actually producing around here. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to potentially have some like piles of things where we can potentially have like different piles of the different blocks that we're producing. And man, with the designing like this, there is something about just painting and just kind of, that's what I really like doing, is just, it feels like painting to me. and it is really relaxing. You kind of get to throw in all of these extra textures, and I like to paint them into the places where I think that they would actually be in a building like this. Now I've done a little bit of decoration on the outside, adding some holes, and then now you can see that the texturing has been done. I feathered the texture around the outside of different things and used a couple of different brick variants in order to achieve this effect. So now for the fun part, to add a little bit of color, I'm going to steal some of the items because this is actually what we're producing. So I figure what I can do is just start throwing some piles of this stuff like around the outside and sort of within the corners of these builds. And yeah, this is what we're producing. So definitely want to get a lot of this placed in. Like definitely all of these random colors, like this stuff looks really, really cool. And I really love doing this with some of that zinc that we're producing. Let's make a bunch of copycat slices. And this does seem like a lot, but these can be applied in a very interesting way. So we can, for example, take a stack of this, put it in our offhand, and I can go into these corners and start to increase the size and vary these blocks like this. And it allows us to get these really intricate looking like additions. And now speaking of additions, I've added an additional overhang just like this. And I also added a little bit of a chimney. And this is how simple you can make chimneys. Like it doesn't have to be complicated. Just having some campfires up at the top, it just adds a whole lot of like life to the build. And I just surrounded this with some andesite funnels. They're so cheap to make. So you can just surround this and use them for decoration and place some campfires underneath, and it will look like a little chimney. Just kind of make the bottom bigger and also this part a little skinnier. And there we go. So the little out like warehouse building is kind of like the smoke center, which kind of makes sense because this is where we are producing the blaze cakes. And so honestly, not too bad, not too shabby for a factory that is essentially producing all of our metal materials. Has some windows, has some lights, has some decorations on the outside. Just a big ugly factory building, much like you would expect from something that is producing all of these different materials behind me. So beautiful. Now with the factory up and running, and we do have all of these goods down here, I do want to actually work on the upstairs area. I want to turn this also into a workshop because as of right now, my workshop has been this place over here, which I still am completely fine with using all of our fans and all of this stuff right here. This works just fine. But we are going to need like separate places, for example, for doing pressing recipes in basins like this with a blaze burner, and also our mixing recipes also with a blaze burner, and maybe a few other things. And I definitely want like a auxiliary press system that can press more than just one item at a time. So you know what? Let's get started first with our pressing system. I do want to leave a space off the wall because this is probably where we're going to run our power, is like through the back. But let's just say we have a barrel that is right here, and we need to lead that into a system that splits all of these items into multiple different presses. So at first, the items are going to go here, but then they need to lead into a tunnel. So I think we could get away with making this pretty compact by having a belt that is too wide. And so let's just get a belt like so, drag this to here, and then we need tunnels in order to do this. Okay, so I don't know how many I want to split it into. Let's just say we're going to have 4 presses, and so whatever we put in here, it will be split between 4 presses. So right here will be a one line that goes. This will be another line that goes. And so we'll have 4 of these bad boys. That seems pretty fair. This needs to come out of the tunnel, and will end up being right here. Then we can have the press, an empty space, and then the collection area, the barrel. So ultimately our line will reach all the way out here. So now let's just go ahead and get the tunnels in place. And the cool part about tunnels is when items enter from one side, it can split through all of them. So what it'll essentially do is now divide all of the inputs 4 ways, or at least it should, so long as we have this set into the split mode. And yeah, just as I imagined, here is all of the presses. So we put the item in, it'll end up getting pressed through here, but now we also probably want to turn this into one central input, which we could just use another tunnel system to do. And so if we are going to do that, then we are going to want to extend this whole thing out, and then also make sure we leave enough space for our output. And so it should be pretty symmetrical overall. We're going to have a barrel here, and then over on this side, we'll also have another barrel. And that is a split press. I mean, this is going to be perfect. This will be where all of our items just end up. Now on this back side, I believe these will actually shoot items out. So we do want to prevent that from happening and make the only place it can send items this side. Everything else, we can just put something random in the filter. And man, getting power up here, super easy because we do have belt power that's just right down at the bottom. So beautiful, a gearbox. We'll send that all the way up. And then right here, I'm going to encase this. Looks really, really nice when that's done. And then connected up to all of this, we can do another vertical gearbox, but I don't know if the direction is going to be correct. We'll have to take a look. Let's see. Perfect. Okay, so the direction is, it just happens to be correct. That is beautiful. And then we'll just continue carrying this up. Another gearbox. And make that another vertical gearbox. And this whole line is now ready to go. This is basically done. Now, because I want this to look semi-realistic, what I'll do is I'll place a bunch of girders on the top, and I want to stretch the girders over the top here, and then use the wrench to set this to the link, and then we can just connect this to the ceiling somehow. So yeah, I can just keep extending that. There we go, and keep extending that. And it makes it look like these are actually being held in place. So moment of truth, let's go ahead and test this out. I'm going to throw all of those in, and looky there, it's splitting. Now, is it allowing all of this to go through? It's only allowing this belt line to go through. It should allow everything to go through. Synchronize inputs. Does that change anything? No, it doesn't. Okay, so interesting. This does not work like I thought it was going to. So this is where I've got to get a little bit more creative and figure out a solution for the outgoing products. Now, I've been thinking and thinking, trying to think of a way that I could do this. And the only way I can think of making this absolutely like as fast as you send the items to this to be received out is to create a merger. Now, the way that we can handle mergers is by using a buffer inventory. So we are going to need a funnel, multiple funnels. We need a funnel here, and we'll also need a funnel on the other side. So that way we're not actually limiting our input. So these items should end up on the belt and be pushed through fast enough to not get jammed up. And then what we can say is, hey, make sure you send as many as possible out at any given moment. And so this should prevent it from backing up. So this will still go here, but this will be a brass tunnel because we want to make sure to send out as much as possible. So we've essentially created a merger system here. And now whenever I send it iron, let's just give this a good test. Hopefully I'm not wrong. And there we go. Yes, the merger system is working. And now everything is combined together just as I wanted the other system to do. Now, I think some other nice things to have up here, possibly, we can do bulk pressing. This one will be bulk mixing. But yes, we can have bulk compacting and bulk mixing, and we can choose whether or not to have it heated. So we can put a blaze burner down underneath here. And I think both of these are going to work the same. So let's make a press. If I have the casings, there we go. Make a press. Super quick. Toss that on. And now we're essentially ready to go. Now, the way the logistics for this are going to work is out of this barrel, we are going to have a shaft, and that shaft runs here. And then on this one, we're going to have a shaft running here that runs into the back here. So we're going to have a tunnel or a funnel that is going to run on the back side and be tapped in here. So we'll have that connected. That connected. The belt will run through the bottom like so, and these two will be connected. And then we need to get our output, and our output, we can either do it from the front, but I would prefer to be able to see the blaze burner a little bit easier. So having it go to the backside, I think would look a little bit better. And so we'll have a belt that runs back here, and then our product will automatically be deposited out of the basin like this, and then we'll just use a funnel. So we'll slap that on there. Nice. And so now our system essentially can take two products, which is what most recipes are that are going in here. We want to supply them through different belt systems like this. And we can even set this to only allow one item at a time, which I think is reasonable for this because it's not going to really matter when it's running at max speed. So that will deposit onto the belt. This will deposit this way. A couple of things that we are going to have to do here though, set something like a trapdoor. In this case, trapdoors are just really cheap and they don't take up a lot of space. You need to place a closed trapdoor on the backside so items don't actually get flung off. Same thing over here, just in case you happen to overfill this thing. Now, most of this is nice and hooked up. We are going to need a cog. So let's grab a cog real quick, toss that there. So now the mixer is up and running, and then we also have the mechanical press. I do want to get this tapped into the ceiling, make it look like it's actually being connected. But man, this is going to work out really, really well. Down here, we'll just place in the blaze burners. We do have a few spare. Like so, and hopefully not catch all of our wood platforms on fire. I'm just kidding, it doesn't actually catch anything on fire. So now let's put these bad boys to the test. Let's grab out some iron nuggets. So let's say we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll do that. We'll do 10 stacks of the iron nuggets. So we'll throw these over here. Doesn't matter which side you put it in. And then I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 stacks over here of andesite. With those both combined together, these are going to constantly start producing andesite alloy. And so this is just an example of putting two different products, and that doesn't require any heating, and it just processes it all. It's great. And a really nice example here, like let's say we want to make enriched iron for our refined storage system. So I can toss in the iron and the quartz with it heated over here, and it's going to do the same thing in that amount. We just will simply receive our product. Man, I absolutely love that all of this stuff is really coming together. Now, there are a few things that I do want to mention and talk about. There's some things that we can actually get done and I think utilize potentially over here or maybe elsewhere, and that is our new enchanting system. There's actually some things that we can technically do with our enchanting system. And now that we have significantly more XP, oh boy, it's going to make this so much more worth it. And that is enchanting our actual crushing wheels and things. Yes, we can enchant things and make them even faster. So we can start producing even more flint if we just essentially enchant our millstones. So let me take our millstones here. We have a few of these, and I want to enchant these. So the best thing we can put on them at the moment is just efficiency. And so we do have an efficiency book, and I grabbed 3 of these. So let's grab 3 of them. Efficiency is in here, efficiency 5, and that is exactly what I want. So I'm going to put efficiency 5 on all of these books, and we can enchant these millstones one by one by placing the millstone in here. There's our efficiency, and we can apply it. And it is going to actually speed up without using any more stress units or anything like that. It's just going to make it more efficient, meaning it will produce the materials that it's processing faster. And that is actually huge when it comes to setups like this, where we don't have a whole lot more space, but we do want to make more of the thing we're making. And this is what makes this possible. Now, the only downside to using these enchanted create items is that we can't encase them, or we can't use any like special modifiers. We can't like change the way the millstone looks, for example, and use the design and decor, unfortunately. But that's going to be completely fine. I would much rather have the benefit of it than the actual look of it. Because this is entirely different. And it is interesting. Whenever you do place these down, they're not actually create millstones. They're actually create enchantable machinery millstones. So they are their own exclusive item, and that's unfortunately why you can't use the other materials. And I even prevented you from accidentally clicking on these with materials because that could actually wipe your enchants. So I've tried to prevent that. And if you take a look here, you'll see that how possible that is. I can take something like andesite, I think, which is a way you can modify this. And notice you can try to do it, but it doesn't actually do it. It kind of blocks your right click event. Back up here, we just place these back in, and this is going to start chowing through here. And I even enchanted the crushing wheels, and these also have efficiency 5 on them. Look at that go. So yes, I mean, the efficiency does make sense. I mean, in this case, you can use less millstones using less stress overall to get the same output that you would from far more of these millstones. Now, man, we are getting very close to episode 20, and I think it is about time to possibly start prepping for end navigations. But before we do that, there's a couple of things that we can actually make from just dire things, which I think is going to help us tremendously. And that is the portal gun, which is technically something that we could have made a while ago, but it is really, really cool. Okay, so all I've got to do is get this bad boy charged up. Doesn't take too much to get it charged, and it works just like you might think a portal gun would work. You have a left and you have a right click, and you also have a shift and right click to be able to clear portals. And yes, it does work like the old school portal gun. And so if you right click, you place a portal. If you left click, you place the other portal. And whenever you walk through this, it teleports you to the other side. And the portals stay up, by the way, and they'll stay up until you shift right click. And whenever you shift right click, both portals will close. And so typically what I like to do is set a home location. And so I will usually say my left click is the home location. So I want to always come back here. And so no matter where I'm at, so long as I have a charged portal gun, I can right click and walk through here. And then let's say I'm somewhere else and I'm working on a project and I'm like, oh man, I really need to head back to that factory or my home location. I just do that, get the thing done that I need done, and then I can walk back through the portal and we're good to go. Like, this is fantastic. So a really good use for this is upstairs, since I just placed all of this stuff in and I have like this like bulk processing area. I mean, it would be nice to just simply have a way to get here. And so I can go ahead and place in a portal, and this can now become my quick access to our processing area. Now, here soon in the future, as soon as we go to the end and we do all of that stuff, we should gain access to a better version of this portal, one that actually lets us set individual destinations. But I really wanted to show this off because the portal gun is quite the tool. Just set your left click position, and then for me it just feels natural just to right click this thing. And so anywhere I'm at and I need to get back there, I just do that and I'm back home. If I'm in like, I think it works cross-dimensionally. If I'm in another dimension, for example, and I need to get back home, I just right click. Good to go. Ah, man, the portal gun is so good. Sometimes it is just nice to reminisce and check out our post office piggo and then realize that in just a short amount of time, we've really come a long ways. We've got a mega factory that we started with that just produces a ton of things from cobblestone, utilizing that in our Ars factory, our XP gas station, and now the ingot factory. I mean, yeah, there's still more to come because this is like barely even scratching the surface of what is possible with Create and all of the mods that I have included in here. There's a lot. And guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode and hopefully you learned something new. And if you did, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up. Now, with that being said, it's time for us to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks, well, that is going to go out to Mendu. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and just supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. Thank you so very much. And guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.